Sir Ashok Mishra, Professor Banerjee, Dr. Anil Kakurkar, Swarna Raju, all the other. You will hear me properly, don't worry. When I came here for this program, in fact, I wanted to stay for the full day. But since there is an Air Force exercise, live exercise of Iron Fist at Pokhran, I'll have to leave early. But still I decided that anyhow I make it for this function because it's almost like coming back to IIT Bombay. Not much different. There are two from Bombay here. I think Professor Dr. Anil Kakurkar also chairman of Bombay IIT. And ultimately it is IIT which made me. When I came here, they gave me this 2 pages of written draft for speech. And I thought, if I am talking about Make in India, do I make my own speech or read from the written draft? I decided to go my way, the IIT way, and decided to skip the written draft and stick to what I feel like talking with the students. In fact, what I am today probably is the 6.5 years I spent in IIT. I didn't spend 6.5 years for undergraduation. I did 1.5 year of post-graduation also. But then realized that probably degree is not a very important aspect. Went to Goa with a thought that I'll come back for completing the MTech degree, but never had to come back because knowledge is what is more important than the qualification. So I still stick to BTech degree, and my affidavit in elections are also indicates BTech degree, doesn't indicate the 3 semesters I spent in IIT for MTech degree. Or someone may file a case. Professor Banerjee spoke about 3 legs. 3 legs make a perfect plane, and it can rest on a surface without getting destabilized. But I think the 4th leg, if it is added, though requires equal length, otherwise you will have a stool which is all the time shaking, gives much more stability. And the 4th leg is ecosystem. An ecosystem for innovation, development is required. If you don't create an ecosystem, proper ecosystem, then all innovations are stuck up at innovation level only. To make the technology come successfully into the market, I think you require an ecosystem which is being created by government under Make in India. In a way, I call the current generation much luckier than us. We had in our class many students. When I finished my education and was in the small scale unit, I studied metallurgy, but I was in the hydraulic manufacturing unit, a completely different area. But I realized that engineering is basically a knowledge. Education is important for understanding the topic, and in IITs also, I don't know whether you have a system, but we had open book examination, which I found most difficult. You also laughed. But you should know, I don't know whether you have open book exams, you should know where the answers lie. And if you have to know where the answers lie, you have to go through the book twice, thrice, knowing it that it is in chapter number 13, page number 167. So finding out the solution, the right page of the solution is crucial, and that grip comes only if you know the subject well. So open book exam can be very difficult also. Ultimately, IITs are for creation of engineers who have out-of-box thinking, concept of out-of-box. But all these concepts don't survive. I found most of my classmates either migrating to US or UK. I stuck to India. I had never anticipated that I'll become a politician. And though I am the first chief minister, maybe politics, a lot of IITians ask me this question, how do you enter politics? I myself don't know how I entered politics. I was like one was watching the river from the bank, someone pushed me from behind and I fell into the flooded river and had to swim, so only did it successfully and became chief minister of the state and was elevated to Raksha Mantri in November 2014. But I realized one thing in politics. Politics ultimately, in fact, the success in politics I achieved, I give the weightage to IIT only. I was General Secretary, first mass coordinator, then General Secretary, and as a mass coordinator, was quite popular. To claim myself to be a popular as a mass coordinator can be proved by only one fact, that I got elected in a row for 3 years. So what I learned in mass probably helped me steer the state and its finance properly. So I can tell you that don't think that extracurricular activities or the sport activities or others go waste. That also counts. But innovation ultimately and development will depend on make concept which can create the ecosystem. And when make concept was announced by Prime Minister and when I joined defense, I realized that we have geared ourselves to a situation where the innovation, the creative ability of anyone in the country is totally destroyed in the current system. And defense it is still difficult because the customer is only one. If you develop something, there is a lot of people who come in frustration to me, and I had myself experienced this in 1984 when I became entrepreneur myself, that you develop something and then the lab, DRDO lab or the concerned PSUs or the Ordnance Factory Board tells you that we are going to float a tender which is open to everyone. After spending thousands or crores of rupees, I still get entrepreneurs who have spent crores of rupees in developing system telling me that after I develop the system, the country still continues importing because of various reasons. And one reason was as simple as that, when they tried to indigenize the system, they floated the tender and the foreign company which did not want India to develop the particular item which was being sold for 2070 rupees to India, probably put in someone to give a price of something like 158 rupees in the Indian tender and block the tender for infinitum. So someone takes the order at a very low price and then sabotages the supply. Maybe his EMD is confiscated, but ultimately we still depend on the imported material. So there were so many difficulties in Make in India concept which had come. So I decided that we need to create systems where Make in India becomes a reality in defense also. And there are two aspects which I stressed on. I still remember a small story I read about Kemal Pasha, the Turkestan's modern creator of modern Turkey. When he became the dictator or the sole ruler of the Turkey, he issued an ordinance. It said that from tomorrow onwards or given date onwards, Turkey language will replace English everywhere in Turkestan. The country, this language will be replaced. So a lot of people were disturbed. They came to him saying that how is it possible that when we are using different language to go into the local native tongue so suddenly. They came in a big delegation, all intellectuals, and he asked them what is the time period required. So some said 5 years, some said 10 years. He told them, okay, you get whatever time you want, So everyone was happy. They got up walking out, and Kemal Pasha told them, your time gets over tomorrow evening. The 10-year gets over tomorrow evening. So you have to set up a timeline, cut off the ropes, then only sometime few things are possible. I think the sanctions against India in many of the development after nuclear text in 1998 probably helped India develop many of the technologies. And I find sometime in strategic areas, we have more indigenization than in non-strategic area in similar type of fields. Missile technology, we are quite self-sufficient because we were not getting any help from anyone. But in a fighter plane, we still probably import 55-60% of the content. Why does this happen? So you need to cut off. And this is one area where I think Make in India could become success if we cut off certain technologies from coming from abroad, if we are in position to develop them, and I'm very sure that we are in position to develop them. We need to create one more syndrome, and this is very important for an entrepreneur. You create technology which is par excellence. You create ideas which are slightly ahead of its time, and create conditions where there is no alternative but to jump up to your idea for replacement. These are ideas which can be generation jumping or a few years jumping ahead of current concept, or ideas which can solve problems which we don't have today. If you create there is no other alternative syndrome, then many of the ideas can successfully deliver what you hope to show. I like to express myself about this concept through a small story I read. I'm a good storyteller, but many times I realize telling examples probably expresses the concept much better. This is about France in 15th or 16th century when Louis XIV was king of France, and he was fond of astrology and had many top astrologers of Europe in his darbar. And probably almost every alternate day he used to consult them. One day, one of the top astrologers happened to visit his palace. And when he entered his palace, the king was sitting with his wife, who walked away after the astrologer came in. But when the astrologer saw the queen, he told king that your queen is not going to survive more than 7 days. She is going to die after 7 days. It was a prediction which was very harsh, but he told the king about this prediction, and king took it lightly, but on 7th day the queen died. And then king got a shock of his life, and he started thinking whether this astrologer is an astrologer or he has a capacity of black magic. How can someone predict the death so accurately? That was his question. He got worried, and he got so much worried that he decided to get rid of the astrologer because he thought that he can do black magic and get rid of me also. Now even the king can't murder. So he thought of an idea, called the astrologer to his private palace on the 7th floor. He took him to the window with an intention of pushing him out of the window from 7th floor, so that the astrologer falls from the 7th floor and dies in an accident. And no one can blame the king for his killing. When he took him while talking to the window, the king had one more flash in his mind. He thought of asking, now checking the astrologers, his knowledge about astrology. He asked him one simple question: can you from astrology tell when is your death? The astrologer was stunned but was smart. He realized that something is cooking in the mind of king. He knew king very well. So he thought and replied that we astrologers are not permitted to see our own Jyotish. We are supposed to tell others, but we are not allowed to see our own Jyotish. That is a part of my Vidya. But I can tell you, he told the king, that your death is 3 days after mine. The king never pushed him out and issued an royal farman next day saying that a royal doctor will visit the astrologer first every day morning, check his health. And to end the story, I will tell you, the astrologer outlived the king by 15 years. But what he did, he created there is no other alternative syndrome. He made it obvious to the king that his death is linked with his own death. I think in commercial ecosystem and in successful entrepreneurship, there are many occasions where you will need to create this kind of syndrome, this kind of situation. Then you will succeed to a large extent. So while innovation is created, also ensure that the ecosystem permits you to put it to a proper use where there is no alternative to your product. As far as government is concerned, I can assure you that Make in India program is ensuring that many of the ideas, bright minds which you have can be used in this country, and this country can develop many technologies if we really harness. I have in fact instructed DRDOs and Defense Research Organization to tie up with academia for various academic institutes and not necessarily IITs. I don't claim that all intelligence lies in IITs. Though substantial quantum lies in IITian Roorkee, I don't have to say anything because it has proved itself over almost last 159 years. And this is one of the innovation. This probably was an aircraft, Second World War aircraft hangar, converted into a convocation room. So obviously innovation starts from where we are sitting, and I assure you that from our side, both in research, innovation, as well as product development and deployment of its, the opportunity which is required for young entrepreneur without hassles of bureaucratic red tapeism will be created in defense. The defense procurement procedure, which is the first of the step towards this, is being completed in the final stage and may be published by month end. So I think with that, there may be many opportunities. There is a separate make procedure in DRDO where academia also can take part not only in research and development, but its application in actual defense industry. Thank you very much.